G'day mates, welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's video, I want to talk about the evidence we have that Grotto is going to be returning to Fortnite this season and why potentially that could bring Tfue with it. We were promised if Grotto returns, Tfue returns, so I'm doubly excited to talk about why I think Grotto is going to return this season. We also have another pro being held hostage by Epic's rule system in place where if a team qualifies in the last FNCS for the next FNCS, unless all players of that team want to disband, they can't disband. So we have none other than Reet being held hostage, stuck into his team because one of his teammates does not want to disband, and I've been told from Reet himself where if they don't disband, he is not going to play FNCS. He will not play FNCS with this player, so their options are either to disband so they can all play with other teams, or Reet is going to be sitting out this FNCS. We also got another competitive blog post from Fortnite talking about why there's a preseason, what the arena changes are, and why they changed the arena the way they did, so I want to jump in and talk about that because there has been a lot of discussion around the arena system and why you can now de-rank, so you can actually lose Champions Division, and why there's no longer arena fill. So I want to talk about Epic's reasoning for that and give you my thoughts as well. So let's just jump into it. Before I talk about Grotto and Tfue potentially returning, let's talk about the situation with Reet and why he might not be playing this FNCS. He tweeted out saying, whose idea was it at Epic to make all three players sign a form to not have to play next season together? Actually makes no effing sense that Chris can sit here and hold me hostage. A literal joke, do something please. And he added Sundown, who obviously works at Epic Games. So what is this situation and what is going on? So if you guys don't know, any team that comes top 3 in the last FNCS automatically qualifies for the current season's grand final. So because Reet came top 3 with his teammates Kenshi and Chris, they are now eligible to make straight through to grand final. So this FNCS, they don't have to play the first 2 qualifying weeks, they don't have to play the semifinals, they don't have to play the reboot round. They are straight into the finals. But if this happens and you don't want to play together next season, but you automatically have that qualification spot, all 3 of the members on the team have to fill out a form to officially disband that team so they can play with other teammates. So the situation we have right now is Reet and Kenshi are happy to split up. Reet wants to play with Fabs and Snacky, but unfortunately their third teammate Chris does not want to split up the team. He will not fill out the form, which means Reet and Kenshi are stuck playing with Chris, or they have to do what Reet is planning and just sit out the whole FNCS. Now, before you go and send any hate to Chris, let me talk you through this situation. We've seen this a lot in the past. Most notably, we saw it with Avery recently. Avery didn't want to split up his automatic qualification with Stretch and Saf so they could play with Kanata. He wanted to stay with him because he thought, hey, this is my chance to make FNCS Grand Finals. It's super late. I'm not going to be able to find another good team. I want to play Grands. I've earned this spot. I'm not splitting up the team. A lot of people, send Avery a lot of hate for that. A lot of people understood. Similar situation with Chris. Now, let's address why does Reet want to split up the team? Because they came top 3. Like, they had an insane performance. Why would you split? Well, Reet wants to play with Fabs and Snacky. And honestly, Reet, Fabs, and Snacky is a phenomenal team. Most people would argue a better team than Reet, Kenshi, and Chris. And I mean, honestly, at this point, why not? Reet's making a lot of content. He's probably going to want to play the 2 weeks of qualifiers, the semifinals, and the reboot round because that is just a lot of content, or he'll just qualify into the first week. And I talked to Reet. He said, I want to beat Epic Well. I'm sick of Epic Well winning West FNCS. I don't think I can beat them with Kenshi and Chris. I can beat them with Fabs and Snacky. He's like, I will beat Epic Well this season if this team disbands and I'm allowed to play FNCS. So Reet wholeheartedly believes that he has a better chance playing with Fabs and Snacky. It's nothing personal against Kenshi and Chris. He just wants to be able to play with the players that he thinks he's going to do better with. And I feel like most people would agree he has the right. But why will Chris not disband the team? Because I don't want you guys sending any hate towards Chris. It's free money. He has guaranteed money by playing in Grands. He doesn't want to risk splitting up the team, losing that chance at guaranteed money to risk playing with another team and not qualifying. I believe Chris is more than good enough to find a new team and qualify to Grands without having to play with Reet and Kenshi, but you have to understand where he's coming from. He earned a qualification spot playing with teammates last season. They probably at some point discussed playing together this season, and he just assumed they would. So all bias out there, I'm a good friend of Reet. I am. That's why I DM'd him. That's why he DM'd me about the whole situation, so I'm always going to be biased towards Reet. But I see where Chris is coming from. I really do. It's an unfortunate situation. He is abusing what is a rule that shouldn't exist, though. I truly think that Epic's made a mistake with this rule, and I've said this every time this happened in the past. This has already happened at least 4 or 5 times since they implemented this rule. I also always use this example as well. No one should be forced to play with a team they don't want to. That's not the case right now, so let me come up with 3 random names. Let's say we have Bob, Jim, and Tim, right? We have Bob, Jim, and Tim. They're playing trios together. Imagine Bob is just getting bullied. Jim and Tim, you're terrible. I hate you. We carried you. You are the worst player I've ever played with. Nobody likes you. Imagine that, but they won't disband the team. So now he has to play with those 2 abusive teammates. I'm not saying this is the situation now, but why is there a rule where you can't just stop playing with people if you choose to? It seems so odd. I get it. Epic wants to make sure that teams keep playing together and they stick together throughout the seasons. It's good for storylines. It's good for the players. People who qualify shouldn't have their qualification spot just taken away from them. But at the same time, no one wants to play with a team they don't want to play with. Like Reet said to me, Reet said, if Chris doesn't agree to disbanding this team, I will not play FNCS. He will come last in grand finals. I will sit it out. I will do viewing parties of all the games and I just will not play it. I'll play cash cups with my friends, and FNCS I'll sit out. He's like, I do not want to play with this team now because he doesn't want to disband, which now gives them a reason to not like each other. Before it was nothing personal. I just think I'll have a better chance playing with this team, but now it's personal. So again, I'm going to say this. I've said it in the past. I fully understand where Chris is coming from, fully understand where Reed is coming from. Epic, just take out the rule. I don't think anyone thinks this rule is a good idea outside of Epic. You can understand where Chris is coming from, but the rule shouldn't exist in the first place anyway. I'm guessing in the future we're going to see the auto qualification probably just taken out of the game altogether. It's causing way more drama than what it's worth. Most teams are disbanding. We had Epic Whale, Arkham, and Rex last season disband their team to reform just so they could play the qualifying weeks because they didn't want to sit them out. Like, this whole auto qualification system, as great as it sounds in theory, it has a lot of holes when you look at Fortnite as an esport as it currently is, with players always chopping and changing teams, wanting to swap, wanting to hold down their drop spots, wanting to get practice in. It doesn't work in the current system. So I guess we'll see. Most of the times this has happened in the past. One of the players in the team has come to reason and thought, hey, I don't want to make Reet and Kenshi play with me. I want to actually find a new team and I'll have a better chance if I do. And they usually disband. That's what I'm guessing is going to happen in this situation with Chris. I'm going to guess we're going to see Reet playing this FNCS, but we very well might not. All right, now let's move on to a more positive note. Why do I think Grotto's coming back and potentially Tfue? So first out, I'm going to admit the evidence isn't crazy. Okay, so if you go to Grotto right now and you look at the water levels inside Grotto, they are dropping. Not by a huge amount. Here is a photo from what it looked like before, and here's what it looks like now. It is clearly a drop in water, okay? It's not halfway down. You can go into Grotto and run around and get loot. It's not a POI yet, but hear me out. Let me explain. Why? Why would Epic do this unless it was for a specific reason? Like, we're in a period where this season we have finally actually got some decent map changes, but we've had seasons now of almost nothing changing on the map. I don't think Epic has the manpower or the people available just to be like, hey, let's drop the water inside Grotto by like 6 inches. Just because. Like, there's got to be a reason why. Like, there's just, why would you do that? This isn't something that automatically happens. This had to be a deliberate choice by Epic to drop the water inside Grotto, and it's a wasted spot on the map. It is a perfect spot to have Grotto as a POI comeback. It doesn't have to be a mythic. It doesn't have to have the henchmen. You could obviously, you don't have to say they all drowned. Like, could be a bit grim to go down there and there's bones and stuff. Like, it's Fortnite at the end of the day, but hey, you could just be a really cool POI inside the mound there that has, like, you know, loot in it. Like, it would just be so great. Or maybe make it a mythic job, have some cool new boss or someone come in. I talked about it yesterday. We do have another event coming later in the season. We do also have another content update in a week's time. There are leaks out there that Epic is clearly adding a lot of content mid-season. Grotto coming back would be 1/10 of the size of a Stark update throughout the season. So maybe this is something that comes down the line, like halfway through, like we saw with Stark. I'm hoping. And like Tfue said, I hope he's a man of his word. Tfue tweeted out, I'll play Fortnite again if Grotto comes back. That tweet got 50,000 likes. Do I think he'd come back and play an entire season in FNCS? Clearly not, but surely if Grotto came back just for the memes, just for one day, Tfue would come back and play some arena or maybe play a cash cup and he'd drop a Grotto. I'm sure Scoped would run it with him, someone like that. It would be so fun to watch. Again, I know it's not a lot to go off, but my logic is this has to be a very deliberate choice from Epic. And what else could it mean? Maybe they're just messing with us. I talked about in yesterday's video, they have been leaving a whole bunch of leaks around that Tilted is coming back and it just doesn't seem to be coming back. Maybe they just like toying with us. I don't know, but I really hope my favorite POI ever comes back and so does Tfue. That would be so amazing. Now, let's talk about Epic's blog post today and their reasoning behind some big changes around Arena. First off the gate, just the Arena changes they made. This is what a lot of us were really hoping would be the big Arena change. They'd bring out some like cosmetics that you win by getting more points. There'd be tournaments for getting more points. You could have like an icon. You could have like a back bling, a gun wrap. Maybe you get V-Bucks. Like a lot of us were talking about how they could make Arena a proper ranked game mode. None of that happened. But let's hear about their theory or their reasoning for why they changed Arena the way they did. So we got news today that Champions Division is now going to be 7,500 points, not 6,000. So it is going to be harder to get Champions Division than what we originally thought. They also said that now there is the additional feature of demotion, which means that if you lose points because of the bus fare and you go from, let's say, 7,550 points, you drop down below 7,500, you are no longer Champions Division. So you can demote, which is a major feature that I've been asking for in Fortnite for a really long time. But unfortunately, I'm not really happy about this because demotion only works in the sense that if there's something to gain, you've risked the demotion, right? Like let's say you're at 7,550 points, but if you get to 10,000 points, you get 500 V-Bucks. So you're like, oh, it's worth taking the risk. I'm going to play, I'm going to try and get my points. But if I D-rank, I can't play in Champions Division tournaments. So I've got to be careful. I've got to play, but I've got to play properly. And see what I'm getting at? Like that's how you make Arena a better system than what it currently is. Now with this new feature of demotion, you've arguably made Arena even worse because once people get to champs, they're going to be too scared to play their next game in case they D-rank down. They'll just get champs and they'll stop and they won't play for the rest of the season. So somehow, in my opinion, Epic made Arena even less competitive. I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be complaining. I'm trying to keep my videos more positive. A lot of you guys in the comments asking for that, but I just don't really get what Epic's doing with Arena and where they're trying to go with this. They also talked about how there is no bus fare in the early ranks and later on there's going to be more bus fare, which is good. I get that. It should be. But again, when points don't really matter once you get past Champions Division, the bus fare doesn't really matter. They also talked about how eliminations are going to be worth less points the higher division you get. Again, same logic. Yeah, you get less points, but what's the point of getting any points? There's nothing, you're not working towards anything once you get champs. Also, 7,500 points with cash cups in like 4 days. I'm almost positive they're going to drop the requirements to play in cash cups to Contenders League, which will be like 2,000 or 4,000 points depending on the new system. There is no way they're going to run a cash cup in less than a week expecting people to get 7,500 points. Some people will. There's already, I think, 10 people who are Champions Division just today. The points reset less than 24 hours ago. So people can do it, but a lot of people won't. So I'm going to guess they're going to drop it down like they have in the past. They also gave a big explanation for the reason for the Arena preseason. Also something that I have been known to be not a huge fan of. I don't like preseason. I'm not even going to read through their explanation of the preseason. To me, every single point they make can just be summarized by just don't put on tournaments. They talk about how it's, you know, a way to figure out what's going on with the competitive meta before they put in tournaments. Again, just don't put in tournaments in the first 2 weeks. They talk about how Epic staff usually like to take a break right after FNCS. I totally understand that. Again, just don't put on tournaments. You don't need staff members to run Arena. There shouldn't be any issues with Arena. They talk about, obviously, you know, balancing tournaments and adding the pre-evaluation in there. Again, just don't run tournaments. Like, I know I sound like a broken record here. I just feel like the whole preseason doesn't make sense because, like I just talked about, Arena's not competitive. Arena is not a proper ranked game mode like other games. I don't think anyone who's a good player really cares if there's broken items in Arena. If I opened up a new season and Arena had everything broken in it, it was just completely crazy and a mess, I wouldn't really care because it's just still Arena at the end of the day. Just get rid of that before the tournaments start and then I think everyone's happy. You don't need to use this Arena as a preseason test for what's coming up in the future. You've got the preseason tests to test the tournaments before they start. I don't know. I feel like I'm crazy here. I genuinely do not understand the point of a preseason, but I'll move on from that one because clearly Epic wants preseasons. Based on this blog post, they're going to keep them despite what you or I say, because most people seem to agree with me that preseasons don't make a lot of sense. But we are getting some competitive surveys. So Epic talked about how they're going to be sending out competitive surveys. If you guys would like to be involved, make sure you have your emails available and you're checking your emails from Epic Games. If you were chosen, they send you the survey, fill it out, give back your feedback. If you don't like a preseason, let them know. If you do love it, let them know. Don't just take my word for it. Sorry, if you guys like a preseason, keep it in the game. At this point, this is my last season in OCE. I'm going to be in LA from January next year because I'm moving to make some content with NRG. So I'll be in America for the next, hopefully, like couple years. So I don't have to worry too much. Preseason was really annoying, especially in OCE, because without the points resetting, I just couldn't play Arena for the first few weeks of a new season. That's not really going to affect me anymore. I wish they reset it because getting on for a new season with Arena points reset was so much fun. You're racing all your friends to champs. You're figuring out these crazy strategies. You're trying to abuse them, have some fun. It just did give off a better vibe than what the preseason is. But at the end of the day, I'm giving up complaining about it now. Epic wants it in the game. I disagree. I've said everything I need to say, so I'm just going to leave it there. Alright guys, that does it for another video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please chuck a like on it. Let me know in the comments section down below your thoughts on anything I talked about today. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. It would mean the world to me. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.